Hello, welcome back to Skate Journey. I'm Mike, and today we're going to look at episode 8 of So You Want to Start Skateboarding with one of my favorite tricks, one of the greatest tricks in skateboarding, the first real trick I ever learned right after the ollie. Today, I give you the kickflip. Foot positioning. The foot positioning for the kickflip can be a little open-ended. The back foot is basically the ollie position, and the front foot, as long as it's hanging off, should be good. This is my foot positioning, angled and high up. You can also have it a little bit straighter, or you can have it lower down, a little bit more angle, or a little bit less angled. There's really 1,000 ways to set up for the kickflip. The pop. Now the pop for the kickflip is a little bit more particular than the pop shove or the front shove. So basically it's just an ollie, but as the board leaves the ground, your back foot is going to leave the board. Let the board rotate, and then you're going to catch the board with your back foot. The flick. The flick is the most important, but also the coolest part of the kickflip. You basically flick your front foot off of the nose and kick outwards. Always go off the nose. Don't go off the side. That's not good. You can see here you want to place your foot anywhere basically where your foot is angled, and you flick it diagonally up and back. Up and back and out with a flicking motion, hence why it's called the flick. And you also kick, hence why it's called a kickflip. They look cool. Throwing the kickflip. Now I must warn that throwing the kickflip should only be used to practice the flick. It should not be used to practice the catch, because when you throw the kickflip, you actually catch it with your front foot. It's a little difficult to try to catch it with your back foot. Here it is from a different angle. Again, only use this to practice the flick and not the catch. Committing and landing your first kickflip. Once you have that flick down, it's time to put it together. Start by getting your feet in position, and then with any other trick, you're going to crouch down. As you pop, you're going to flick. Your back foot will leave the board, and your back foot will also catch the board once the rotation is complete. The second you see that grip tape, you stomp. Here's what it looks like from a first-person perspective. The whole thing. Step on the board, back foot in ollie position, front foot in your desired kickflip position. Ready? Crouch, pop, flick, catch, land. One fluid motion. This one will take you a while, I can assure you, but it's one of the most important tricks in all of skateboarding. Kickflips while moving. As with any other trick, the kickflip translates from stationary to mobile pretty simply. The only difference is you're just moving. Again, with a kickflip, especially while moving, you want to crouch, pop, flick off the nose. The nose is what gives the board the rotation. That's actually why skateboards are shaped the way they are. When you flick off the nose, it creates a perfect rotation that'll let you catch the board in midair. Here's what mobile kickflips look like from a different angle. Crouch, pop, flick, catch. Crouch, pop and flick, catch. That one was a little bit rocket. That's when the nose is up a little bit when you land. Such a cool looking trick. I love it. Of course, as with all of these videos, it's always a great idea to practice your tricks over a small object or chalk on the ground. That one was a little sketchy though. I'm pleased to say that this is a trick I can still do up objects, such as this manual pad. And of course, it's always a good idea to practice it down objects as well. It helps you get that catch better. Common mistakes. So the most common mistake that I see with the kickflip is people that don't commit to the trick. This is why it was important to not focus so much on throwing it as a means of landing the trick, but just as a means of practicing how the board flips and rotates when you flick it with your front foot. If you focus too much of it as a means of landing the trick, you won't commit and your back foot will just not jump. Obviously, to fix this, you have to jump with the board with both feet. Don't plant that back foot on the ground or you will never land this trick. The second most common mistake that I see with the kickflip is the inability to pop. Now, at this point, if you can't pop high enough to do a kickflip, then maybe you should go back to the ollies. I know it sounds harsh, but for this trick and most tricks actually all tricks moving forward, you're going to need a pretty good pop, otherwise the board will not be able to rotate all the way. The thing with pop shove-its and frontside shove-its are that they only rotate 180 degrees. Every single trick moving forward is at least a 360 degree rotation on one axis. Another common mistake that I see with kickflips is the inability to flick the board all the way. Now this could be one of two things. One, you might not be actually physically kicking the board off the nose hard enough. And two, what I actually discovered recently, as for some reason I struggled with kickflips at the beginning of this season, was I was actually popping so high that the board was reaching my feet at only halfway. To fix this, either flick harder or pop a little lower. Lastly, the last common mistake that I see, and I actually had this a lot when I was starting kickflips, was over-rotating. Believe it or not, you can have too much flick and end up doing 1.5. As you can see, it can have some pretty devastating results. Good thing I know how to fall. But anyway, to prevent this is why it was important in the beginning that I mentioned to flick off the nose and not off the side. If you flick off the side, you'll somehow lose pop, I feel, but you'll also potentially over-rotate the board and end up with 1.5 flips. You want one solid, beautiful 360 degree flip. That is the beauty of the kickflip. Alright, that's it everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to support my channel. I upload videos every Saturday. Now go out there and land your first kickflip. I'll see you next week.